Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are well. Oh, the sun is shining. The sun is shining. I feel so happy today. If you're new around here, I'd love it if you could give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content. Now, without further ado, let's get cracking. It was a very special occasion, not only because it was Easty 10K's 40th anniversary, but I also ran it on my late father's birthday. So I felt like it was extra special. I felt like the sun was shining for a reason. I felt like my dad was very much with me, so that was lovely. And it was a race that mentally, as in the distance of a 10K, I had a complete mental block on. Taking it back to 2021, I decided to enter into a 10K race. My father-in-law at the time was a very avid runner, and he very much, I've run for probably the best part of, well, over a decade, but not seriously until the past, since 2021 probably. And it was the first race. He sort of inspired me, and he put his body through such extremes. He's done marathons, he's done half marathons, 10 milers, the full shebang. And he's even done the London Marathon. So I felt really inspired by him, especially after having my eldest. I thought, okay, now's the time to get back into fitness and really make some changes here, some positive changes. I was definitely in a slump, like I am now, weirdly enough, but my hormones are just going here, there, everywhere at the moment. So taking it back to 2021, I entered the Bournemouth Supersonic 10K, I think that's what they call it. And I was so excited to do it. I'd been training for a few months. Never in a million years did I think that I could cover that distance. I could barely do a 5K, but I had the determination, and I thought, no, I can do this. I can absolutely do this. So I put myself through a 10K training program. I was doing 3 10Ks a week, and really like getting there with it. Like, it's a great distance, really great distance. One of my favorite distances, in fact. It used to be a 5K, but I feel a 5K, sorry, my little pooch, she's just chasing her tail. Hey you, my little Nala bear. So she's, say hi Nala, say hello. So thank you, Nala. So yes, so one of my favourite distances, just to give myself that extra push. Favourite distance is in fact a 5K, because whether you're feeling a bit, it can really get you going. And in terms of, sorry, oh my gosh, my mind just went somewhere else. It can really sort of humble you as a runner, I guess, to do those smaller distances. I think a 5K is perfect, but 10K is that just a little, extra push, let's say. So entered into the Bournemouth 10K, and God love my father-in-law, he said that the start line was on one side and the finish line was at another side. So we went along, had the baby. She must have been she was 11 months old, and I was really excited, really nervous, because I suffer really badly with anxiety, as lots of us do. Natural emotion, don't get me wrong, but I think some of us experience it on heightened levels. So to do something like this was to conquer my fear mentally, but also physically. So got there, plenty of time to go. And then we were looking around and we're thinking, this is interesting, okay. All of us runners are looking at each other, and we're just like, oh, no, the start line, it's changed. And the pandemic during 2020, I think they were doing virtual 10Ks at the time. So they changed everything. So where I needed to be on the other side of Bournemouth. So had a mad panic, bless him, got me in the car and drove me to the start line, which actually meant that by the time we got through all the traffic, it was like an hour after the race had actually started. But thankfully, the race organisers, I think they must have had a massive influx of people with the same issue. And then they said, yeah, no, that's fine, just go. And I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'd lost all motivation on the way in the car. I was just thinking, how could this happen to me? How? And, but so typical me, like I'm so blasé about everything. I'm very much a head in the clouds kind of person, like, it's safer in my head than it is anywhere else. Everything's rainbows and butterflies. So yeah, very much lost my flow. So running, not really feeling it. And then I'm thinking, surely this isn't the course, like, because it's very flat. So you're running along the seafront. I'm thinking, no, surely this is not it, surely. And so then for some reason, I saw this other man and he went up a set of stairs. So I'm just thinking, well, he looks like he knows what he's doing. I'm gonna wait. So then I've gone up. Unbeknownst to me, he was actually part of a 10-mile race. And at that point, I couldn't do a 10-mile. So don't know what I was doing there. Don't know who I thought I was. But anywho, ended up mixed in with 10-milers. And when I say mixed in with 10-milers, those people can run. They really can run. I think I can do a 10-mile, but 2.5 hours. So my accent, every now and then, because I do a lot of accents, so sometimes my accent will just drop out, just FYI. I am English, but I don't know what that was. Anywho, so got mixed in with them and I was just like, oh my God. And then the more people were like clapping, obviously they weren't clapping at me. They were clapping at obviously whoever they saw. I mean, don't get me wrong, those people that clap, like, hats off to you, because that is really motivating. But I didn't want to hear it that day because I knew that they weren't clapping for me. They were thinking, what is this schmuck doing? Like in the middle of like, you don't go here. You don't go here. And I could literally just see their faces. I'm just like, oh my God, okay, I need to get out of here. So I found someone that looked like they knew what they were doing, i.e. a race organiser, and I explained the situation and he said, just throw in the towel, that's long gone, and you can always get free entry to next year. Just explain what happened, because there were a lot of people, I believe, got caught out with the same thing as me. So he said, yeah, okay, just tell that to whatever lady it was at the end and she'll sort you out. So I thought, okay. So then I got back onto the seafront and I called my husband at the time. I was like, what is happening? He's going, you're in for a great time. I'm going, don't talk to me. And yes, I had my little mental breakdown, and then he said, just keep going, just finish the course. So I finished the course, my hip went like halfway through. I was like, so I'm running like, and it was just, oh my God, it was just so, oh gosh, I felt so depleted. It was ridiculous. It was so completely ridiculous. I was angry, I was hangry, I was grumpy, I was a proper grumpy grunion. I was just not loving life. All I could think of was the donuts at the end of the pier. That's all I could think of. That's all that kept me going. Not seeing my daughter, it was the donuts at the end. So I kept going and I thought, oh, I'm almost there. And then what happens? They say, oh no, you've got to go down that way. By that way, the longest pier I have ever seen. The longest pier I have ever seen. Oh my Lord. Okay, so got to go down that way. Oh yeah, of course, I've got to come all the way back as well. And then everyone's going, tap, tap, tap. And I'm just thinking, off. Like, seriously, that was all I was thinking. It was kind of like that point when you're giving birth and you're just like, everything's sunshine and rainbows. And you're like, okay, now I've got to push. I don't want to push. Go away. It was kind of like that, but the running version. And then my hip gave way again. So I'm kind of, just sort of like, on, gotta keep going. And eventually I finished the race, but I was the most miserable. So my official time for that must have been 2 hours something. It was the worst thing, considering on my training, I'd set PB of 1:14. Wasn't 1:14 that day, was it? No, it was not. I was grumpy, but then I saw my daughter and she'd made a little sign. She hadn't made the sign because she was 11 months old, but her grandmother was very sweet enough to make the sign so that she could wave it and stuff. She wasn't really interested. Apparently she was on the beach like eating sand, but hey, I like to think that she was really supportive. And then I had my pictures like with her, and I did feel like a sense of achievement, but forgot the start of the day. Now, if you're going to start a race, just a word of advice, they say, stick to what you've been doing throughout your training and don't try anything else. Just started the fertility treatment the day of the race. So I had to start these metformin tablets, and I had one in the morning. I didn't eat anything. I tend not to eat anything before a 10K. I just never have. Like I don't really like fueling. I feel like it's too short of a distance for my body personally. Some people fuel lots for the 10K, but my body personally, I'm not here for it because it just sits on my stomach. And especially first thing in the morning when I'm feeling nervous, that's the last thing I want sitting on my stomach. So going back onto the metformin, the side effects can be nausea, headaches, all these lovely arrays of, symptoms like dizziness, ones I didn't want on my race day. So the fact that I wasn't wise enough to start that after the race just feels silly now. But unbeknownst to me, I'd started the tablets, but I didn't actually know I'd fallen pregnant. So I was actually running the 10K pregnant with my second. So she must have been like a tiny little blastocyst, but I could feel it. So the nausea I was in fact feeling was the beginnings of my second pregnancy. And I don't recommend it, if I'm honest, through it. But yeah, it was quite an experience for all the wrong reasons. So I think this year I will be taking on the Bournemouth 10K just to get that out of my head. But thankfully I have completed the Eastleigh 10K. It was a spectacular day. It was phenomenal. And to be part of the 40th anniversary felt really special. And as I said, with my late father's birthday being on the same day, it kind of felt really poetic that on his birthday I conquered a fear of mine and that the sun was shining. But it was such an amazing atmosphere. Just everyone that was there was happy, upbeat. Obviously you have your elite runners that do really, really well. I think there was a record set on that day. I can't remember specifically, but I'm sure there was. There was a woman that was there, I was told after, I think she was about 85 or something like that, and she had actually run every single race. So she walked the whole way, but oh my gosh, like when I heard that, I felt like, wow, what a hero. It's amazing. Everyone's there to celebrate everyone. It's kind of like your local park run. You see the same faces and you just, hello. There's a guy actually that is on YouTube. I think what's his name? I think it's Derek Goes Running, and he was there and I was like, oh my God. I was so excited because he's had some medical issues and he still continues to run, and I think what an inspiration. So he was there and just all the smiley faces. It was just amazing. But what I didn't count on was the fact that it was quite warm on that day. So usually March time is quite cold. So I was like, I'm not taking any chances. I'm going to put all my layers on. Oh my God, was I hot. I was so hot. But it was nice for me because I'd been out the week before and completed the 10K course I think that really helped me actually, just running the actual course, because then it wasn't, I think that feeds into my anxiety. If I don't know what I'm doing, or where I'm going. I think that creates more anxiety. So the fact that it was in my hometown and I was able to do the course really put me at ease. So I knew where I was going. Whereas with the Bournemouth 10K, I didn't know what I was doing and I was in the complete wrong place. So that really helped me out. And I think because I'm not at any level of like peak fitness at the moment, I've really declined for multiple reasons. I think mentally I'm just not there at the moment, and I can see myself gaining all of this weight at the moment, and I'm just kind of like I don't really care at the moment. And it's really strange actually, because I haven't ever been like that in my life. So I think just got to fix here first and then the rest will come. But the fact that I felt so good after that 10K, and as I said, it was all the people, the organisers, the people racing, the spectators on the side. There were some kids on the side that had like a high five, you're almost there kind of thing. So you know, and then they sort of treat you like little celebrities. So they're like, oh, you know, like high five. Whether they were there for like their actual family, I don't know. I just yeah, I don't know. But it was very much appreciated. I think what they do, unless you run something like that before, because sometimes you do have your dig deep moments, whether it's a 5K and you're a beginner, I think that's just amazing, and well done to anyone that tries, because that is quite a lot to put yourself through mentally and physically. So well done to anyone that has done a mile run, a 2-mile run, 3-mile run, 4-mile run, however you count it. Well done to you, because it's just not easy. And I think the hardest part is actually getting up and out. Now, one thing I do not recommend for running a 10K is going to Turtle Bay the afternoon before and trying all the cocktails on the menu, because that will not be your friend and that will not get your PB. But I had a moment free from the children and mummy took full advantage of that. Sorry, that's my front door. And I really don't recommend at all, because I could definitely feel the cocktails the next day, like sort of, yeah. But if you are going to do it, be like me and do it in the afternoon, because then by the time the effects of the alcohol come out, it's still probably about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. So you've still got plenty of time. What I didn't guarantee, or what I didn't anticipate, should I say, is the 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, that wasn't fun. And I couldn't really get back to sleep because I kept checking the time. I was like, oh my God, is my watch charged? Is my phone charged? All of these various different things. But, oh my gosh, I've done it now, haven't I? I've done it. So my next thing, I think I am going to book the Bournemouth 10K again. I also have training for the 10 mile in October for the Great South Run, which I'm very excited about because it's in Southsea in Portsmouth, and apparently it's a very flat course and such an incredible day out apparently. So yes, I'm looking forward to that. My children, as I said, weren't there for my race, and I'm one of those people, I don't need to be cheered on. It has to come from within. So I get quite nervous when it comes to stuff like that, and I don't like things being all about me. Like, it makes me feel really uncomfortable. But I must admit, when I got to the finish line, I was sort of like, oh, it would have been really nice if the girls were there. So I think we'll probably have a family day out and bring them there so that they're there at the finish line when I do the 10 mile in October. But yeah, I think if you haven't done a 10K before, I highly recommend doing one. I think it's a great distance, and I think what I enjoy most about 10K is actually the journey to getting yourself up to a 10K. With me, I used an app, I can't remember what it was called. It's like a long chain of them. I can't actually remember. But annoyingly, everything's full of subscriptions nowadays. So I stopped using that because that was a subscription one. However, I have discovered a new one where you can actually plot your course and it will save that, and it's about £6, and that's a lifetime kind of app that you can have. That's really helpful. Again, I'll try and link that in the description. But if you haven't got it, Nike Run Club is something that I've started using within the past year, and that so far hasn't had any subscriptions. I think you literally just need to sign up, and they have all of these training programs. They have mile-long recovery runs, they have your speed runs, they have training for 10Ks, training for 5Ks, training for half marathons, just a variation of different courses. So I'd highly recommend doing that. But yes, that's just a little bit about the Eastleigh 10K, and I got my medal as well. How lovely is that? I actually really like the colours this year. When I first saw it, I was thinking, ugh, oh goodness, because last year's was pink, and I didn't run last year's because my baby was due in February, so it would have meant that I would have been 4 weeks out of having a baby, and I wouldn't have put my body through that. But as luck would have it, she was born in January, a whole month early. But I wouldn't have been fit enough to actually get out there. I will actually do a video on getting back into running postpartum, because I think that's something that I haven't really seen too much on. There probably is, don't quote me. And if you've got any suggestions of like content for getting back into running after having a baby, please put it in the comments. It'd be interesting to actually see what's out there. So I think I'm going to do a video on that one, and how much I struggled with that. I'm also going to do another video about getting into running after having surgery also. I think that was quite a challenge mentally and physically. So yeah, I'm just going to leave it there with you folks, and have a lovely day. The sun is shining, guys. But I'd really appreciate it, again, if you give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe, and I shall see you later. Bye.